Today, I could tell you all, it's the beginning of a new journey. And I'm saying that after 37 years, it has been a long journey. It looked like yesterday, honestly, but it has been a long journey. And there are times I'm going to confess today, there are times I look at my bag to take it and run overseas and leave you all alone. From Castries to Viewfort to Soufrière, I say, not those fishermen again. Every time I thought I had gotten things under control, another one would blow up, and another one would blow up, and another one would blow up. But what I'm saying, cooperative is such a resilient type of organization that it actually rebuilds itself. And I want to say something to the fishers, especially for those that was in church this morning. If you remember what the deacon said, the priest said, you all have walked that walk, and it has been a long journey. And you all can sit here today. Honestly, Castries, you all must give yourselves a round of applause, because you all have gotten some serious blows that today you all can sit there and actually have a good fist. You all can actually pay for what's happening there today. We have some stalwarts in our midst. You know, I remember my partner, Mr. Gerald Cyril, although he said he's finishing with that, but I don't think so. He's still there on the ground watching things. And some of the deceased ones. But what I want to say to you all, I want to encourage you all. It's not an easy road. To be a fisherman, to go to sea. I like boats, but I'm telling you all, I'm not going anywhere near a canoe. And every morning, you'll have to get up and go and face those stories out there. It's not easy. What I want to encourage you all also, I'm understanding most of the other fishermen cooperatives have done that, opening up the base of those cooperatives. And you all might well know why persons are old, there's no pension, nothing in place basically for fishermen, and you all don't understand why you all have 2 ministers at your table today. The pressure just starting. You all need to hunt down those ministers. Something once and for all. Some pension scheme, I've been hearing that year after year, must be put in place once and for all for fishers. Because persons just grow old, they sit by the wayside, literally having to beg, and that is not good enough. Thank God for Castries that was able to resuscitate itself and to give a few fishermen. Oh, where's my partner, Mr. Peter Paul? Oh, this old man found my home. Where is he? Oh, he's outside. But he found my home. When things were not good, he said, Miss, and I was out of the island. Miss St. Catherine, if you do not help us today, I'm going to go and demonstrate. We need to support our fishermen. And something interesting I'm going to say to the board of directors I'm seeing there. There are a lot of ladies in the house. We need to bring the ladies into the cooperative. Bring them, because the men go out to sea, but you do not know. The ladies are the ones keeping things afloat. The children, I'm seeing quite a few young persons. You all need to bring those young people on board so that the fishing industry and by extension the cooperative do not die. So I think once and for all, am I right in saying that Castries have decided to open up the base to bring in the consumers? Because all the others have done it. Labrie, the one as for ancillary, and Mikud was forced to do that. So what I want to say to you all, continue to support the men. Continue to support your husbands, your boyfriends, and the children. Continue to support, you know, what is happening in fishing. Because if not, if you notice now, they're pushing a lot of poultry, and now they're asking to eat fresh. But we cannot do without the fish. And I'm saying to you all, thank God I was not somebody that ever looked down on people. I was asked, why do you choose that kind of work, coming from the St. Joseph's Convent? Why you choose to work with fishermen? Sometimes, you know, in life you get a calling, and I feel for those people, and not only feel the way they have been taken advantage of. And I think once and for all, we're going to stamp out, you know, that kind of abuse, you know, that has been shared out to fishermen. They have their role, and I know this government, this time around, and if they don't do it, they might see me in the media. Once and for all, I think they need to bring in that pension fund for fishermen, and in whatever way is possible, I know and I have the faith that they will endorse and continue the fishing industry in St. Lucia. So with these few words, I want to wish one and all a very good day. It's a day when you'll all take a break. That's basically what you'll do. Take a break to drink and eat and be merry. And I just want to ensure that you'll have a very, very productive day. With these few words, I thank you all and God bless all.
You know, after all these years working with the fishing community, I worked in the fisheries department for 32 years. And since I retired in 2001, the last 15 years I've been working with the fishing community in Castries and around the island. We have tried and we continue to try to ensure that all our fishermen, all of our fishermen's cooperatives are on a solid footing. Because many, many years ago, we recognized that the fishermen were individuals, they had their own points of view, and we encouraged the formation of cooperatives because we recognized that through an organization, much more could be achieved, much more recognition would be given to groups, government acknowledged cooperatives as an organization that qualified for duty-free concessions and support from government. Right now, we see a move away from the traditional way we did things. The Fisheries Department, the Cooperatives Department are the two agencies which work with the fishing community. And now we see both of these departments becoming regulators as opposed to doing everything that we were used to. When I was in fisheries from 1969, our business was developing the fishing industry, developing the fishing community. And in developing the fishing community, we looked after all of the interests and all of the business of the fishermen. Although we did not have the powers of arrest, we tried to ensure that the fishermen did what had to be done under the law. Like I say, the two departments are becoming more like regulators and have forgotten development. And development is one of the parts of the industry that we need to focus on. We have been catching fish for years. We have been catching the same kinds and species of fish for many years. Our production has remained fairly stable. But this year, I want to throw out a challenge to both the Fisheries Department and the fishermen themselves. And I can tell you that many years ago, I had a prime minister and I had a boss. And I refer to the late Sir John Compton. Sir John would call me and tell me, Mr. Walters, we're losing our fishermen because they operate from the canoe. Go far and wide and find a suitable platform from which these men can operate. Travel the Caribbean and find a better boat. And I did just that. I found a fiberglass pirogue in Martinique, and Telamon, our very good friend, gave us one so our fishermen could go out to see how this boat operated, how it worked, how it stood the waters. And at the same time, we were building the fisheries complex. Because, you know, we were catching a lot of fish on the canoe, and at 4 o'clock in the afternoon, the fish price would go down to 10 cents a pound because we had no cold storage to keep it. So when the fisheries complex came in 1984, and we got a fiberglass pirogue, our fishermen started buying fiberglass pirogues and moving away from the canoe. But we have not used the fiberglass pirogue in the manner that we can, in an improved way. The pirogue was supposed to give us more safety at sea. So even if it sank, you could hold on to it. It would afford us the opportunity to use improved fishing gear and methods. it would give us the capacity to carry more fish from sea to the shore. So we had a better boat that looked after the lives of the people, allowed them to use better gear, and allowed them to bring more fish in. We tried to encourage a few people, and I see one of those people here today, to buy a larger vessel. But we've had the problem of our fishers not wanting to stay out overnight. And sometimes I wonder why. Because our fishermen know that fish feed at night, and much more fish could be taken at night than in the day. But we don't want to leave our people home alone, because there are bad people waiting for you to go to take your place. It didn't only happen on the fishing boat, it happened on the cable and wireless ships as well, the cable boats. But we are trying to do something that we have not done before. The Fisheries Department, I know in my time, we introduced the long line for large tunas. We introduced the FADs, the fish attracting devices. And the FADs are still there, and it makes it easier for the fisherman to go out and go around the FAD to get fish. But we have not really capitalized on the long line fishing. Grenada moved into larger vessels, 30, 35 footers, and they've been catching millions and millions of dollars worth of large tuna. In Dominica, the fishermen are catching large tuna using 15-foot shallops and small boats, but they have perfected the use of the gear to catch large tuna. We have not done that. We continue to go and chase and troll and drag and twine. We have not used the longline fishing to our advantage to catch large tuna. I have absolutely no pride, no shame in wanting to invite one Grenadian and one Dominican to come and work with our people. You know, sometimes you can be impatient, you go out there and you don't get anything, you come back. But the Dominican fisherman stays there and he will come back with 8 large tuna weighing 180 pounds each on a small boat, no space to carry all he catches. The Grenadian goes out there and he'll catch 40 fish on his vessel. He'll stay out for 3 days and bring in 100 large tuna. And we have to do that. We have to work with what we have. We have a fiberglass pirogue from 18 to 26 feet. We have to find a way to catch more fish. And that's my buzzword for the next year, catch more fish. We're not going to get an increase in fish prices. The price of fish is dictated by the supply and demand. And we saw this year a lot of balao. Balao was cheap as 5 for $1 and as expensive as 1 for $1. But the fishing community got a lot of balao this year. But we need to catch the large tuna. We have to use the boat we have, to use the gear we can on it, and if it means putting out 50 hooks on a small boat, if it means putting out 200 hooks on a larger boat, we have to use what we have to catch more fish. We have to bring large tunas in because they're there. They are in our waters, whether we like it or not. It's just that we're not targeting large tuna. We're going after everything else. We're looking for dolphin. The sargassum weed, the dolphin last year was small because they got stuck in the weed. You know, we get a lot of argentier, we get a lot of other stuff. We get in sardines, we get in balao, but we're not getting that albacore that we know so well, and we know it is there. So I want, in the next while, to be talking to the Fisheries Department to see if we can put a small project together to bring a Dominican and a Grenadian to work side by side with our people. And there's no shame, because we have gone and we have brought people here to work with us. We have gone overseas to work with people, and there's nothing wrong with having a Dominican in a small boat to show our people how he stays there and how he fishes and how he'll catch 8 large tuna. There's nothing wrong with going out with Calvert or people who have vessels like Calvert to stay 2 or 3 days out and bring in 100 large tuna. We have to work with what we have. And I am hoping that the fishermen here will rise to the occasion, because we need to bring more fish ashore. We need to increase our production, and not the production from dolphin and kingfish and the small tunas, the banjo. I am talking about tuna that weigh 150 pounds and up. So this is my message this year. We need to catch more fish. And I'm hoping that our fishers will rise to the occasion, because we need to increase our production. We need to put more money in the pockets of fishermen. We're not going to get more money from more dolphin and more kingfish. We need to bring in the tuna that's going to be a new species on the market in volume, and that's what I'm looking for, the volume. So today I want to wish all our fishing community people a happy feast, a good day, a day that you can come and socialize with your friends and family, and at the end of today, you're sober enough to go out to sea tomorrow to make another $1. We didn't come here to get drunk. We came here to have a nice time and to walk straight to our vehicles at the end of whatever we're having today. But again, I want to thank the minister and his deputy for coming here today, because when you have the minister here, he can hear all of what has to be said. He can mingle with the people who matter, and these are the people who matter today, the fishing community. And I expect the minister will tell us a little bit about his presence here today and what will happen in his term as he embarks on this journey. I know it's not going to be easy. Everybody is going to be on the minister's case, because there are many things outstanding. In the fishing community, we have a lot of issues we want to talk about, particularly the pension. We want, and we have something before the ministry where we have asked for the duty-free concession, particularly some of the distress fund money, to be put at the disposal of fisher folk to match the $25 which we're asking the fishermen who are members of fishermen's cooperatives to pay, so we can contribute $50 on a monthly basis to NIC. So the fishermen who will reach 65 will get a pension. For those who are over 50 but can contribute, they would get all of their contribution back from the NIC when they reach 65, and that will be a savings, because if we can match $25 a month for the fisher, and he will contribute his $25, he would have saved $600 a year. And if he has 10 years, we're talking about $6,000 he'll collect. If you contribute for 15 full years, you will get a pension until you die. So we really want to make sure that our fishers, when they reach 65, are not dragging and begging a politician for $5 who will tell you that $5 can buy a meal. We don't want to feed our fishermen, our retired fishermen, for one day. We want to feed them until they die. We want to look after them. And Castries Fishermen has been attempting to look after its members. We have made all that is possible available to our members, including increase the death benefit. The maximum death benefit we give to a member who has been long-serving and who has contributed, we pay $5,000. The least we pay is $2,000. But a member who has been here and he has a fair amount of money in the co-op, he can get up to $5,000 when his time comes to be put under. So we have tried. We give our 65-year-olds a $300 a month pension, and we have about 20 of those on our list. And you know, even among ourselves, we get those people who do not think that the fishermen who have passed 65 should get anything because they have retired. But these are the people who form the co-op. These are the people who make Castries strong. So we have to look after them. I think my time is up. My chairman didn't tell me anything. He promised me an extra minute, and I won't take it. But I want to thank everybody, and I want to wish you that you have a good day, that you have a nice time today, that you mingle, you mix, and go home safely at the end of this. Thank you.
Let me start by congratulating all fishers on the celebration of another Fisher Folks Feast. I wish in the same vein to exhort fishers to take all necessary precautions as you venture out at sea, mindful that we are now officially in the hurricane season. I want also initially to take the opportunity to commend the St. Lucia Fisherfolk Cooperative Society for the work that is being undertaken to strengthen and consolidate primary fisher societies, the efforts at confronting the sargassum seaweed problem, the response to fishers who have gone missing at sea, the desire, willingness, and indeed the commitment to work with the ministry to advance the cause of fishers in St. Lucia, and the general leadership that is being provided to the sector. I believe, ladies and gentlemen, that your Fisherfolk Cooperative Society Limited deserves a round of applause. For our part, we acknowledge that there are still major issues to be resolved. For example, we've not been successful in ensuring that more of the local catch can be sold on the local market in a timely manner, thereby reducing imports and relieving the cash flow burden of the St. Lucia Fish Marketing Corporation. This in turn would result or assist in more timely payments to fishers. So needless to say, therefore, we have not resolved the issue of the late payment to fishers. This is still a matter to be resolved. We continue to be concerned about the use of the distress fund for seemingly routine and therefore inappropriate activities. We are also concerned about the generally unacceptable conditions that prevail at some of our fish landing sites and some of the activities that are carried out at these sites. Activities such as urination on the sites, excessive loitering, etc., etc. These conditions and activities reflect an absence of food handling and safety standards, are a threat to the marketability of our fish and cannot be ignored. They must be addressed if the sector is to forge ahead, achieve its true potential, and take its rightful place in the economy of St. Lucia. Finally, the Economic Review of 2015 indicates that the volume of recorded fish landings fell by 13.6% to 1,464 metric tons last year, reflecting significant declines in landings of major pelagic species. In particular, landings of kingfish, flying fish, and snapper were lower compared to the previous year. However, landings of dolphin and lionfish were significantly higher. This resulted in a 4.9% fall in revenue generated in fish sales in 2015. No doubt, this is fish for thought. But for all its challenges, there have been positives in the sector. The government of St. Lucia, with the assistance of the government of Japan, recently concluded the project for the improvement of fishery equipment and machinery in St. Lucia. The grant assistance provided by the government of Japan to the government of St. Lucia was to the tune of 560 million Japanese yen, which at the exchange rate at that time was equivalent to 14.4 million EC dollars. The works were to be conducted at 5 sites: Grosile, Castries, Anstore, Vieux-Fort, and Dennery. The works to be executed included a new ice-making plant, air blast freezer and cold storage at Vieux-Fort, a new ice-making plant and solar power system at Dennery, a new condenser for a refrigeration system in Castries, the replacement of a compressor and a system operation panels in Anstore, a new ice-making machine in Grosile, deployment of a fish aggregating device in the Caribbean Sea, and another one in the Atlantic Ocean, and in addition, the donation of 3 pickups to the Department of Fisheries and 2 5-ton refrigerated trucks to the St. Lucia Fish Marketing Corporation. The works were duly executed and completed on the 27th of May, 2016. With the assistance of the Republic of China and Taiwan, 2 jetties were built last year, one each in Prale and Savans Bay, to the tune of $1.1 million. This is now being followed up with the repair, refurbishment, and new construction of stalls, locker facilities, and washrooms to the tune of $1.2 million. With the taking of office of a new administration, government has signaled its intention to protect the marine and coastal environments, promote sustainable use of these resources, and develop the fishing subsector through new technology and practices. In fact, Honorable Ezekiel Joseph has specifically asked me to signal to you his intention to work at attracting more young people to the sector and in finding some means of properly recognizing you, the fishers of this country. Indeed. With all of the foregoing, it is clear that the sector is poised to continue to carve out its optimal space in the life and the economy of St. Lucia, always mindful of the need to conserve our fishery resources, as personnel from the Department of Fisheries always remind me. The priest this morning mentioned the issue of recognition of fisherfolk, as did Minister in a conversation with me. The issue of respect for fishers was also highlighted. I want to indicate that this is an important issue, but one that must begin with the fisherfolk themselves. So I exhort you to treat each other with due respect. The rest of society will follow. In ending, therefore, the question for me is this: which one of you will be the first fisher to receive a national award? I thank you and wish you bon fête pêcher.
I can recall during my tenure as Minister for Fisheries, whenever I was given the opportunity to celebrate with our fisher folks, I would make myself available. So if you, for the first time, experiencing the presence of not one but 2 ministers, but in the past, Minister Ezekiel Joseph would have made himself available. I'm sure there are persons here who can attest to that. Fortunately, we are in a facility where it's more convenient, but at the time we used to be upstairs prior, where we would recognize our fishermen and celebrate with them. So I'm no stranger to that type of celebration and recognition. I want to start off from where my PS stopped, and of course, Deacon Alexander. Because when I listened to Deacon Alexander this morning, speaking throwing out a challenge to me and my government with regards to recognizing fisher folks, I whispered to my PS, but was he at our meeting yesterday? Because yesterday I had a meeting with my heads to get an appreciation as to what's happening in the ministry. I made it clear that as a ministry, we need to recognize those who are making significant contribution to the agricultural sector and fishery sector. And I'm looking forward, Mr. President, working with you to make this a reality. I think we need to recognize the contribution of our fishermen and our fisher folks, to be general, and our farmers. Because we are making, and I say we because I still see myself as being part and parcel, like your president. He wears 2 caps. One we are very close, the other one we have our differences, and I'll not mention which But I too, I'm involved in agriculture, and I appreciate the challenges that those of us who are involved in agriculture face. I understand it because I'm directly involved. And sometimes when I go around speaking with persons involved in the fishery subsector, and also with farmers, they say, look, we are doing so much, but we are not being recognized. And I think we have to give recognition to those individuals because we are playing a very significant role in the economic development of St. Lucia. Now I want to tell you all, and I want to give that commitment, that is something we're looking at, and we're hoping that next time we'll be celebrating the contribution of our fisher folks to St. Lucia economy, we can stand here and give recognition to those who have contributed, and of course, not only contributed, but of course give encouragement to our young potential individuals who have an indication or who are interested in that subsector. Like Pierre said, we believe that the time has come to really try to encourage more young persons to be involved in the fisheries subsector. And as a ministry and the Department of Fisheries, we shall continue to train young persons to give them the exposure that they would need for them to be able to go out there and, of course, have impact on their livelihood. But training is one aspect. And that is why, as a government, when we came in 2006, 2011, we recreated the St. Lucia Development Bank. Because you can train individuals, but my experience is that you train individuals, but they don't have the resources to be gainfully employed in the areas where you train them. And to go to a commercial bank, it can be very challenging. And I can say, based on discussions with my present Prime Minister, we are going to look for resources to put there to support our farmers, to support those young persons who are interested in getting involved in the fisheries subsector. And I agree with you, Mr. President. We need to do things differently. We need to look at the whole aspect of new technology in that subsector. And like you said, you throw out a challenge. And I can tell you here today, we can sit down and discuss this small project that you're thinking of, where we can bring persons in to train us, persons in the region to train us, to give us the exposure and to share the experiences with us, how we can capitalize when we go out there to make sure that we can bring in the type of catch that would create that economic benefit to us. Because we go out there and, like you said, Sir John, give you the challenge to get new boats. I'm giving you the challenge to get new technology, Mr. President, with your executive, that would impact positively on our fisher folks. We cannot continue to do things the way we are doing it right now. The question of pension is critical, but also important is insurance. What type of insurance that we're going to put in place when we are faced with climate change, hurricanes and whatever, destroying our livelihood with regards to our engines, our boats. Most times we rely on government. But I think we need to look at that aspect also, pension insurance. So when some unforeseen happens to us, we know we have that safety net that would allow us to get back into operation as quickly as possible. And these are some of the things I really want us to sit down and discuss as a subsector. What can we do? Whilst the cherry is still in my mouth and I'm not going to chew it, but what can we do? And I'm looking forward, working with you all, trying to see how we can improve that subsector. It's critical. It's critical because you all are providing a service that is important to St. Lucia. But of course, we need to look at ways and means of improving what we are doing. And there's always room for improvement. There's always room for training. And I want to call on each and every one of you all, when the opportunity provides itself, we will capitalize on it. So it's not time for long speeches because I realize you have a long program where you shall be recognizing those who have excelled in various areas, and I'm sure people there are anxious to be recognized. But I want to say that I'm happy to be here once again, and I'm looking forward next year when we shall be celebrating, we can speak of tangible improvement in this subsector, impacting positively on each and every one of us. So thank you very much for giving this opportunity, and I'm looking forward to working with you all. And I'm sure Honorable Jimmy Henry, as one who is from a fishing village, will of course give that commitment to trying to see how we can improve that subsector. Thank you very much.